Bike computer, this is the wiring loom. This is a sensor which we mounted down on the fork. They all have a little line on them somewhere where we need to line the magnet up on the wheel once we've got it set up on the fork. The head unit here, which holds the actual head of the computer. On these cat-eye computers, you can mount them two ways. You can mount them on the bar, or we can mount them in the middle of the stem. Mounting them on the bar gives us the option of running the wire out and wrapping it, coiling it around one of the brake or gear cables and down the side of the fork, which makes it a lot neater. If we mount it on the stem, we have to run it on its own down the head tube and it just looks a bit messy. This is the magnet which we need to line up with the sensor for the actual wiring loom. So the magnet's the silver part here. This is a little clasp on the back that's threaded. Now they go, there's a number of ways you can fit these. The best way to fit them so that they will not move, you just open them right out. What we're going to do now is fit the sensor. This line, as we mentioned earlier, has to line up with the magnet with about a 2 to 5 millimeter gap. What we want to do is fit this on the front of the fork so that if it does hit the sensor, it will pull it out of the way. If we have it on the back of the fork, around here, and it hits the sensor, it'll pull it into the fork. So we always mount them on the front of the fork, like so. Okay, so where the sensor is going to mount on the bike, just give it a clean with a bit of contact cleaner. Wipe down so it's nice and dry. We use zip ties to hold the sensor on, and it also has a double-sided tape back. And zip tie so they're nice and firm. As we run the wiring up the fork, we just try and make for the neatest path possible. So using zip ties wherever we can, because we don't want any loose wire hanging down between the tyre and the actual fork where it can snag on. So once we find a cable that we can attach to, we just use all the excess cable, wrapping it around. So that we get the perfect length. If you want a little bit of movement, that cable will move around. But once we've got that, zip ties once again. Okay, now we're just going to put the head unit onto the wiring kit. Give the wheel a spin. Just make sure you've got a reading, which it does. Then you can remove the head unit and go ahead and program it to the applicable instructions, which will give you your wheel diameter, set the time, just get it all ready for the customer. When you're finished, just neaten everything up by cutting the tags off all the zip ties. Just make sure that there's no sharp edges anywhere up top where people can get their fingers snagged on. Once you've cut that, just spin the zip tie around so that it's not visible from the outside where the clasp part is, and keeping it nice and neat.